What happens when one of the greatest point guards in NBA history says he doesn't even watch the NBA anymore? When a player as respected, as disciplined, and as legendary as John Stockton admits he's checked out of the league because, in his words, it's become too soft. That's not just an opinion, it's a warning sign. And it raises some tough questions. If Stockton isn't watching, how many other fans from his generation aren't watching either? And more importantly, what does it say about the state of today's NBA product? We need to unpack Stockton's comments, explore what's really changed about the NBA, debate whether the league has gotten too soft, and ask the bigger question, is the NBA at risk of alienating not just its legends, but its fans?
We're not steel workers. We're not nurses. We're playing basketball at the most 4 days a week.
People are starting to forget that when I play basketball, I don't play conservatively. I play all out.
We wanted to play in every game.
Yeah. You got a lot of people paying their hard-earned money to come watch you perform.
First, I think people are looking for gladiators out there. They want you to go to war.
Let's start with Stockton himself. John Stockton isn't just another retired player throwing shots at the modern NBA. This is a guy who played 19 seasons with the Utah Jazz. He's the all-time leader in assists. He's the all-time leader in steals, records that may never be broken. And perhaps most impressively, he missed only 22 games across his entire career. Think about that. 19 years in the league, playing against some of the toughest, most physical defenders in NBA history. Guards like Gary Payton, wings like Michael Jordan, bruising bigs like Charles Oakley. And through all of that, Stockton was there, night after night. He played through pain, through fatigue, through everything. So when he looks at the league today, sees players sitting out for load management, and says it's soft, you understand where he's coming from. Stockton built his legacy on showing up every single night. Now, Stockton's comments aren't new. We've heard it from Charles Barkley.
We're not steel workers. We're not nurses. Like people who got like real jobs who have to work 40, 50 hours a week. We're playing basketball at the most 4 days a week.
We've heard it from Shaquille O'Neal.
You can't say, oh, you know what, I'm gonna sit and chill so I don't get hurt. What if somebody falls into his knee again?
We've heard it from countless players of past eras.
I was with Michael Jordan, and he says they have got to do something about this load management, because if you look at his record, he almost played every game like 5 or 6 times throughout his career. He didn't miss one game. Yeah. We wanted to play in every game.
The complaint is always the same. Players don't play enough. Rivalries aren't as intense. The game is more about friendship and showmanship than competition. Physicality has been stripped away in favor of the offense. And Stockton summed it up perfectly when he said, people are looking for gladiators.
First, I think people are looking for gladiators out there. They want you to go to war, and they want to see you do what they can't do, not go out there and shake hands and hug each other and shoot jumpers.
That one line says a lot. The NBA, in his eyes, is no longer a battlefield, it's an exhibition. Let's break down the transformation. In the 80s and 90s, physical play was not only tolerated, it was celebrated. Hand-checking was allowed, hard fouls were part of the game. Rivalries were bitter. Lakers vs Celtics, Bulls vs Pistons, Knicks vs Bulls. Players hated each other on the court. They fought for respect. But today, the game is faster, more spread out. Analytics have pushed teams towards a three-point shot. Positionless basketball means everyone is expected to handle and shoot. But with that, physical defense has been minimized. Hand-checking, gone. Flagrant fouls, cracked down a lot. Players rarely fight. Rivalries are more manufactured than organic. And stars sit out games more often thanks to load management and rest schedules. From an entertainment standpoint, yes, the skill level is through the roof. But the edge, the intensity, the combat element, that's what Stockton and many older fans say is missing. Let's zoom in on load management, because that's the part Stockton really hammered on.
Could you imagine your dad coming home? I'm going to take a few weeks of work off. Well, who's going to feed us then? You know what I'm saying? These guys do it, and they're supposed to be examples and the league allows it.
It's a powerful analogy, because Stockton's perspective is rooted in old school responsibility. You show up, period. Today though, sports science has flipped the script. Teams prioritize long-term health. They want their stars ready for the playoffs, not grinding through an 82-game schedule. And look, the data isn't wrong. Overplaying stars leads to higher injury risk. Kawhi Leonard is the perfect example. When he does play, he's incredible, but his teams manage his workload carefully. But here's the problem, the fans. Imagine you save money to take your kid to see your favorite player. You show up, and that player is sitting out. Not because they're injured, but because it's maintenance.
You know, you got a lot of people paying their hard-earned money to come watch you perform.
That feels like betrayal. And if you're John Stockton, a guy who literally never took a night off, it feels like the league has lost its backbone. Another point Stockton made is about friendliness. He doesn't like the hugs, the smiles, the handshakes. To him, basketball should feel like war. Think back to the 90s, when the Bulls played the Pistons. It was absolutely hatred. The Pistons literally walked off the floor instead of shaking hands after the 91 Eastern Conference Finals. When the Knicks played the Heat, they were throwing punches. Even off the court, these guys weren't hanging out. Now, players are best friends. They team up in the off-season. They train together. They text about joining forces. Rivalries are more social media banter than actual grudges. And look, that's not inherently bad. It shows growth. It shows maturity. But to Stockton and to fans who love the gladiator feel of the old NBA, it waters down the drama. This brings us to a crucial point. The NBA is an entertainment product. Stockton's exact words were, "Fans want you to do what they can't." That's what pro sports have always been about. Escapism, watching people push themselves to limits that ordinary humans can't reach. Watching men and women compete at the highest possible level. So when players sit out games, when games lack physical edge, and when everyone's smiling and buddy-buddy, it feels less like a battle and more like an exhibition game. And for some fans, especially older fans, that's not worth watching. Now here's the big picture. Stockton isn't just any former player. He's one of the greatest of all time. He's a Hall of Famer, a respected voice. If he isn't watching, what does that mean for everyone else? Think about it. The NBA markets itself on its legends. They bring out guys like Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Bill Russell, Oscar Robertson all the time to elevate the brand name. These are the guys who pass the torch. They validate the modern game. But if that torch passing stops, if the old guard openly says, "I don't even watch anymore," that's a huge problem. It undermines the league's credibility. It shows that the product is not connecting across generations. And Stockton isn't alone. Plenty of ex-players have said similar things. Charles Oakley, Scottie Pippen, even Shaq and Barkley, who are literally on TV covering the NBA, constantly criticize the softness of the modern game. When your legends are disengaged, it hurts the league, because it tells the fans maybe you shouldn't take this era seriously either. So where do we go from here? Can the NBA find a middle ground? Some things like load management may be here to stay. Teams aren't going to risk billion-dollar players over regular season games. The business is too big, but the league could do more to protect the competitiveness. They could shorten the season to make every game matter. They could tweak rules to allow for more physicality without turning games into wrestling matches. They could encourage rivalries through scheduling and playoff formatting. At the end of the day though, Stockton's critique highlights something essential. The product is absolutely everything. Fans will forgive controversies, they'll forgive politics, they'll forgive personalities, but if the actual product on the floor doesn't feel intense, competitive, and must-watch TV, they'll tune out. So what do we take from all this? Stockton not watching the NBA anymore isn't just about one man's opinion. It's symbolic of a larger disconnect between past and present, between players and fans, between what basketball was and what it is today. And whether you agree with him or not, Stockton's perspective matters. Because if legends like him are saying the game is too soft, too friendly, too watered down, then the league has to listen. Because here's the truth, the NBA can market stars all day long. They can promote highlights, dunks, and logo threes. But if the core product doesn't have the gladiator feel Stockton is talking about, fans will check out, just like he has. And when one of the greatest point guards of all time stops watching, that's not just a critique, that's a warning. So the question is, will the NBA take it seriously? Or will it keep moving further away from the kind of game that built its foundation? What do you guys think? Is John Stockton right? Has the NBA gotten too soft? Or is this just nostalgia for a past era that can't exist anymore? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because this is one debate that's not going away anytime soon. My name is Damian Peters, this is Basketball Network, and we'll see you in the next one.